welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to something a little bit different, something a little bit special here. We do have a welcome back to the Patch Clash Showdown number 6, a event hosted and showcasing a brand new, or kind of a brand new mod, a custom mod, a custom balance mod. I'm of course your VIP, with me I'm joined by these amazing players and by the people in the chat as well. Welcome, welcome, one and all. Not the first time we've covered a patches tournament, so we have covered some of the previous events as well, showcasing a new balance mod which Patches has been working on, and it's a little bit daunting. It's a pretty extensive balance mod as well. I should emphasize that it is not necessarily designed for strictly balance purposes, but more for balance, but also for like a little bit more fun, just to try out some new things and explore new ideas, and has been actively worked on and updated and changed over the course of the past, what, like 6 months? It's been a while. It has been a while. And again, Shadow Patches has been hosting plenty of events featuring this mod and showcasing it, and now here we are with some show matches. Let's go. Right, let's go. Do have a couple of show matches available to you, and we'll be getting into it, and I'll do my best to try to cover the mod itself. Again, it's a very extensive mod. There's a lot of changes, a lot of upgrades, and we'll do our best. We'll do our best. Of course, I've got the document up with me just to make sure I can reference it. Just kidding. We'll be fine, Pappy. We'll be fine. But here we go. We do have a couple of show matches ready for us here tonight or this morning. And up first, we have Greenert versus Universe in a TVP. Let's go. Bearing in mind that all these show matches are going to be best of fives, one after the other. We might even have some time for some viewer show matches afterwards as well. Let's go. Let's go. But otherwise, buenos dias, Pappy. Buenos dias. So we are jumping in. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Rorschach, as we also have a custom apple as well of Rorschach, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran for Team Exeritus Esports. It is a Universe. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Green Protoss player, the Green Protoss himself, representing Born Gosu. It is Greenert from Canada. Let's go. Let us go. And that's also going to be another factor coming into this. Isn't just the patch itself that's going to be different in the balance itself, but also the maps. I believe Patches does have a custom map pool here, and we might even be getting a sneak peek as to what is to come in the future TLMC. Welcome to Rorschach, another map that I'm very familiar with here. We do have a healing pad in the dead center, and we also have a very, what looks to be short rush distance by ground. So shorter rush distance by ground, we do have an open entrance here towards the triangular third location. So a bit of a more exposed triangular third. Likewise, even a wider entrance here coming towards the natural. The natural itself is very narrow when it comes to its entrance, when it comes to its stroke point. Likewise, not many ways to actually gain access towards the main base. Oh, okay, so Blinkstalker aggression is going to be quite weak on this map in comparison, in the attempt of trying to rotate back and forth in between the bases. There's a lot to get into. There's a lot to discuss. Double gas open out of the universe, going for a more tech heavy start. Greener scouting across the map as well. We do have the goal base here on the top side. I do actually interesting. It's actually quite an open expansion here. There's some uniqueness going on when it comes to the terrain and when it comes to the accessibility here of this northern gold base. We have corner bases as well. Very quickly, I should also emphasize Patches. He doesn't just, he hasn't just worked on this balance patch and on this unique mod, I should say. But Patches, he's also one of the more prevalent map makers out there as well. A couple of his maps did actually make it into the current map pool, such as Celestial Enclave, and a couple of others as well, just off the top of my head. It was 3. It was Celestial, it was Taito, and it was it 10,000 feet? No. Hold on. Patches can sorry, that was Killer Smile. Yeah, that was Killer Smile. Of course. Oh, God, how could I forget? I know. Also Lumen. There's also the Lumen. There's Monitor. There's the music. Hey. Mod is cool. Yeah, the mod is cool. The one is definitely interesting. It's definitely interesting here. There's a lot of like later game changes as well. Basically, a bunch of upgrades were introduced to a bunch of units to make them a little bit more viable in a longer and later game. I think an example of that is Adepts. Adepts, they do have a new upgrade. Likewise, Reapers have a bunch of upgrades as well. Roaches have upgrades, like even more so than previously. So there's a lot of changes designed to try to make some units. It does feel like one of the reasons, or one of the goals of this mod, is to allow for more diversity in a longer and later game, just to allow for more options in general. And I'm a little bit on the fence as to that idea. So far, Stargate Opener, by the way, is going to be a Stargate Opener universe that fails to get into the main base. Again, because of the map itself, scouting is going to be very difficult. There's one entrance here that gets walled off. There's another very narrow entrance here towards the top side, so Reaper scouting is difficult on this map. As a result, the Oracle's moving in, and we're not quite ready for it. Yeah, the Oracle does hit the main. Catching out 1, 2, 3 SCVs. Cyclone will shut this down, but we're just giving up on the Oracle. Yeah, they'll throw it away. 6 SCV kills. Not bad at all here from Greenert. Yeah, it does do some devastating economic damage, and we are quite committed here. University was already going for a delayed CC, and just now moving out. Yeah, he's now moving out across the map early on. We'll see if he can shut Greenert down. What I was getting at is that I'm still on the fence as to... Oh, did we just get an upgrade? Sorry, no. I'm still on the fence as to the ideology of trying to make almost all universes a little bit more viable. I don't know if I'm necessarily against the idea of some of them just like kind of being outscaled in the longer game. So I think a Hellion's another one where the Hellion does have more upgrades as well. Meanwhile, the Oracle does crippling damage here, and Universe is completely all in. Universe is all in. Can depower the gateway, can shut down some of the production, but again is losing every SCV across the map due to just 2 oracles. 20 SCV kills. Pylon goes down. We're gonna try to rotate. I believe Warp Gate was delayed. Yeah, we have a gateway explosion. Limited production, actually. Warp Gate is not... sorry, we don't quite have any adepts available here. I mean, any production, I should say. 5 adepts. 6. We got 6 adepts to defend. Trying to hold on. Universe does move in. And Greenert is in trouble here. But again, time is on his side, right? The longer this goes on, the better it's going to be for Greenert. Now going to be collapsing in, getting on top of the tank. Nice lift. It does shade him forward, and just barely adepts. They can clean up the bio army at least, even getting down the Cyclone. Okay, they take down the Cyclone, getting on top of the tank as well. And it looks like barely Greenert will clean this up. Down to 1 tank. 1 tank, baby. And again, remember, back at home, Universe has nothing. Universe has no economy. Universe is completely all in. Oh, let's go. We got the Twilight Council upgrade. I'm assuming that looks like... Is that the charge upgrade? Is that the charge shield upgrade? Oh, no. As tank is going to get caught out. And again, these are the final units here. The Viking, 1 Marine, 1 Medevac. There's barely anything remaining here for Universe. Barely anything. I should turn on tooltips. True. I think it was advised to do so. As Warp Gate just now kicking in. Let's go. As we are committing into Mass Adept. When it comes to the Adept upgrade that I'm referring to, I know there was an upgrade where the Adepts, they can attack air units, which is crazy. It's crazy, Pap. It's crazy. Let's quickly check here. Okay, they've got 2 upgrades, which I believe we're getting both of them, and now Glaives as well. So Astral Cannon, Adepts can now attack anti-air, and also increase light. And played. Oh, that was the upgrade we just saw. Yeah, GG. GG well played. And with that, Greenert, he takes game number 1. GG. GG well played. But the shield upgrade that we saw that I assumed was the Zealot shield upgrade, which also does exist, was actually the Adept upgrade, allowing for Adepts to have extra HP, extra health. which wasn't even necessary towards the end. Winding it back here, again, short rush distance by ground, so something like an Oracle opener was brutal. Specifically on this map, Universe, he was unable to scout. He failed to get into the main base, he failed to scout across the map, he failed to get eyes on the Stargate itself, so he was just woefully underprepared. Just underprepared. The Oracle did crippling damage, and with that, GG all played. Greenert takes the lead in the series, and we'll see if he can extend his lead even further as we load into game number 2, as we load into Title Citadel. Let's go. Here we go. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to delve into the map or into the matchup itself in the first game. Hopefully we can calm things down and sink our teeth into our best of, but we'll see. The pressure is on. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Title Citadel, we have the red Terran player. The red Terran, we have the South Korean Terran down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back. It is Universe. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Teal Protoss player. The Teal Protoss himself, the Canadian Protoss representing Port and Gosu. It is Greenert. Here we go. But very quickly, so just touching on that once again, there are a lot of minute changes to the Protoss race coming into this, and some of them are, for example, how Chrono Boost works. Something that I do actually quite like that kind of makes sense here is that you can stack Chrono Boost. So if you go one Chrono Boost then another, like the duration of the Chrono Boost is going to be extended and for that full duration, similar to, say, injections from Queens. It's very similar to that, which is cool to see. Something else that was showcased in the previous game that we kind of glossed over is that I believe the build time for units off of gateways has been reduced, but only if Warp Gate has been researched. So it does allow for you to actually, you know, create units like Terran production, for example, if only for a brief moment, even after you finish researching Warp Gates. Bear that in mind, that you need to finish researching the upgrade Warp Gate first for that to be applicable. Isn't just by default, otherwise that would greatly increase the threat of like rushes and proxies, and that can get out of hand. Shield battery starting energy was changed, which I don't think I'm too fond of, but if you recall, one of the reasons why it was nerfed and why it was changed was because of the threat of proxy void rays, for example, and proxies in general, which were strengthened by batteries finishing up with full energy. In the base game, they now start with 50 energy. Now in this mod, they start with 100. They start with max energy, which may have some implications. It's hard to say, bearing in mind that it wasn't just that change which did nerf the proxy void ray, but the void ray itself was nerfed. There were like 3 or 4 different changes that hit that build to ensure that it wasn't an issue anymore. One of them was the shield battery. Other was I think it was void ray build time and cost. There were like 3 or 4 changes. There we go. So far we're going to be opening up, settling in. We do have a standard, relatively standard. It's going to be a 2-gate opener here by Greenert before any further tech. Likewise, Universe once again is going for a double gas opener, faster factory, delayed CC out of Universe, going for faster tank production. Okay. Does go into a very fast tank. Tanks this early on are often not seen, so this should be leading to an early push, potentially into an early medevac, into a drop across the map, but it's very peculiar to see a tank instead of a cyclone. In this example, imagine if this was the same as game number 1, where we had a Stargate opener and an Oracle across the map. Now we have even less anti-air. So heavy tank counts. Hallucination does poke in and does confirm the tank. Yeah, big scout hit by Greenert. He's now aware of the early tank counts. We can see that there's another tank on the way. And Greenert is being greedy. Twilight counts open. Now we're going 2-gate blink into a 3rd. This feels quite greedy here from Greenert. Not really respecting what he's seeing here. If we had a safer build, we'd be seeing a Robo before expansion. But Greenert, he wants to get a Nexus. He's backing up. He's backing up his resources. There's a Nexus, so hybrid greed out of Greenert. It's going 2-gate blink into a 3rd. And Universe, he's getting a third tank already. Like I'll be honest, I think if he moves that across the map, I think Greenert just dies. Oh boy. Yeah, so here we go. We're now moving out. Hallucination does see the production. Should confirm that the army is missing. And here comes Universe. Greener back at home. He's got one battery. He's got a couple of stalkers. I believe 5? 6. Okay, 6 stalkers are out. Universe moving in. Trying to catch one of them out. Does zone away. And again, the early tanks have arrived. So far, Greener trying to engage, slowing this down. Not bad. Picks up a couple of Marines. Universe still committing. Pushing within range of the expansions, and can they get within range of the battery? It barely does. Oof, yeah, oh my massive tank bullies on the army. Battery is going to go down. Blink is now done, and Greener can try to come in from behind. But again, he's going to be CG. Oh, sorry, blinking into 3 tanks. 3 tanks back. Does go for the dive. And massive tank shells, massive tank bullies. Marines a little bit late to react, a little bit late to respond. 2 tanks will go down. Oof. And Greener just has to survive. Just has to survive. Just has to save his natural. Can he do it? It doesn't have the numbers. Yeah, it doesn't have the numbers here. Another tank does move in. Greener making 4 stalkers at a time. And now going for the dive. Gets 1. Gets 1. Gets 2. Will get all 3 tanks. Nice cleanup here. Gonna lose all the probes though. Does clean up. There's gonna be 23 probes going down. Crazy economic damage. So on the one hand, this was a 2-base all-in from Universe. And the all-in doesn't kill, but the all-in does cripple. Does cripple Greenert. He's down to 30 workers. Does have 3 nexus, so he can make 3 probes at a time. But a very rough defense here from Greenert. And again, this was all on our Protoss player. As we mentioned at the time, Greenert, he scouted. He saw the early tank, but he still went for the fast expansion. He still did not go for a robo. So just did not respect what he scouted. And Greenert is in trouble. Now it's all in Universe. Just survive. Just survive the counterattack, minimize losses, and extend the lead from there. Picks up a stalker. I believe there's no high ground vision. Yep, no high ground vision. Greenert did not get a robo. There's no observer. There's currently no hallucination. Warpgate did finish researching, and you can see here an example of just reducing units instead of warping in. Part of the reason for this, I believe, was that Greener didn't want to spend time actually morphing in the warp gate. Here we go. As Universe sneak out across the map, gets into the mineral line, not bad. Catching out 2 probes. 3rd TC is now on the way. And Greener does now get high ground vision. Hallucination has arrived, gets in. Catching out a Liberator, not bad. Does catch out a Liberator, pulls away. And Greenert, he's attempting to recover here. Thankfully, he's in position. There's Rico back home. Oh! Barely catching in the medevac. Massive pickup. Medevac goes down, but Universe can now expand. Universe can now break free, take claim to 3rd base. Oh, Dark Shrine on the way. Okay. I know that DTs, they changed quite a bit. Did they still make the? Did they still change the warp-in mechanic? So if I recall correctly, oh Jesus, we just pulled the boys. What was the point of the 3rd CC? Did we just cancel? Okay, University just cancels the CC, commits across the map as he moves out. Greener moves in, catching reinforcements, delaying the all-in. Universe turns back around. No shot, and can Greener buy enough time? Now going further into the main base. Do we have a force field? He does. Force field. Going for it. No. There was a force field available. Sentry goes down. Nariko's going to be punishing. Yeah, Stalkers, they blink in. They get one. They get 2 tanks. But every single Stalker goes down. The punish is real. But Storm is almost done. Greenert, can he hold on? Can he survive? As that was 10 SCV kills. Remember, University canceled his own third. He never started 1-1 upgrades. And here it is. The boys, Pappy. That's like 30 SCVs, by the way. That's crazy. But there we go. University does move out. It's all or nothing. It's all or nothing. We are moving out. I'll be honest, I'm not entirely certain as to what upgrade this is on the Dark Shrine. There we go. The army does collapse in. Getting on top of the third. Greenert, he can't afford to lose this. Like, he doesn't have to save the third base. Does pull away. How many storms are available? 4. We got 4 storms. Yo, the visual change of the storm. Okay. Yeah, storms and collapse in the armies. They'll say charge in as well, and University will lose everything. GG gets called, and Greenert will take a 2-0 lead in the series. GG. Aye. Interesting change. Interesting that they decided to change the model of the storm. I'm not entirely sure as to the rationale for that. I do know that the storm itself is different, and maybe that might just be the reason as to why that was done. But they did kind of change storm similar to what it was previously, where the cast range was increased, the radius was decreased for the storm. So I don't know if you noticed, but the storm was a smaller surface area in total. Was smaller. And I believe the damage output was a little bit more than it is now, if I recall correctly. Total damage was decreased, but the duration was decreased as well. Yeah. So higher DPS, I suppose, but less overall damage. But GG. I mean, even without that, GG will play. Like, Universe, he forced himself into... He didn't even have to all in, by the way. Universe, he had done well. He had crippled the economy. He was ahead in workers, ahead by 20 SCVs. He could have just taken a third base and macroed, but he chose to pull the boys. He chose to all in. And unfortunately, that all in was heavily delayed by those Wing Stalkers. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we're now getting to game number 3, and we'll see if Universe can begin that comeback. Now, something that I touched on about the warp-in mechanic that I think is really interesting is that the way that Protoss has been changed in this patch is that units that warp in with a proxy pylon and a proxy across the map, they warp in without any shields. They warp in with their shields stripped away. Which is a pretty big change, to be honest. It's huge. It does weaken and deter proxies and warp-ins across the map and harassment by warp prisms as well. It also is applicable to warp prisms that do warp in. And that coincides with the change to the Dark Shrine with Dark Templar. We kind of alluded to it, but Dark Templar, if they don't have any shields, they are revealed. So that's another change that was made, is that they do need full shields to be cloaked. So that also does coincide with the fact that if you're warping across the map, they won't have any shields either. So they have to be warped in back at home instead. So it is a pretty big change to the Protoss race, as it does, again, significantly hinder harassment options and hinder aggressive options as well. I say hinder and stifle, but it does make it a little bit less powerful, and there is a lot of power in Warp Prism harass. How many times have we seen Clem die to one Warp Prism into the main base, getting a warp in, right? Like, it is, like, the power of a Warp Prism is huge in PvT, and arguably too huge. So that is definitely a factor that does influence, like, high level PvT. Where Prism gets in, warps into the main base, especially in the late game when the army is maxed out, so there's nothing to reinforce back at home, and that can end the game. That has ended the game. I think it's due to the original storm animation being larger than its original area of effect, having a different animation for it sidesteps that issue. To make it clear the spell has been changed. Yeah, I would imagine so. Like, I imagine it's just to make it clear that this is different. But that is also true as well, right? That the animation is larger than the area, which is kind of weird in the base game. But I appreciate it nonetheless. Meanwhile, a big shout out to Blarg in the chat. God, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sorry for not giving you a shout out at the time. I was a little bit engrossed in the game itself. But thank you so much, Blarg, for subscribing with Twitch Prime for 17 months. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. Do appreciate it. Este Blarg. As for the first time this series, single gas opener, we have Universe going for a Rax expand. Oh, sorry. Going for more of an economic start. Now we can lock it. We can lock in. Greener behind this going for his own Twilight Council. I would imagine Twilight Council in the Blink, especially on a larger map like this, it is safe to go 2-gate Blink into a third. Bear that in mind that the game, I mean, again, Universe, he was ahead in that last game. He definitely could have taken it as well if he had kind of pressed that advantage. Like, again, he was able to punish Greenert for going for a greedy build, but chose instead to go for an all-in. That's the Universe. And we'll see if we get any macro between these two players. It's been hyper-aggression both Game 1 and Game 2 from the Terran. And we'll see if that continues. Since that nerf toss, I mean, that was on Universe. Like, that was on Universe. He did not have to all in. He made that choice. Nah. Once again, it's going to be Blink. So again, 2-gate Blink into a third. I do like this a lot more here on Winter Madness. I do think it's much more viable. Greenert, he does attempt to scout. We should be seeing that hallucination soon. So we have our standard 3-1-1 setup. Universe getting into early tank production. Once again, Universe does skip his Cyclone. Oh, and actually moving out with an early drop. Okay. Going for a Marine with a mine drop. Making his way across the map. Greenert does claim his third. Hunting down the Reaper Hellion. Drop making his way into the main base. And currently Greenert is out of position. He's moving out across the map. Bearing in mind that we have not morphed in those warp gates. So instant warp is going to be available. Uh-oh. Universe does commit in. Drops into the main. Delayed reaction. Oh no! Delayed reaction. Massive connection. 8 probes go down. Ay. And that is also a big change here done to Terran, which is, if you recall, there were a bunch of nerfs to the Widowmine in the base game, and one of those nerfs, one of those changes, one of the quality of life changes was that the Protoss players, or just players in general, you get an alert, you get a notification when the Widowmine is burrowed. When the Widowmine does burrow. Here, that's no longer the case. So you have less time to react, less time to respond. And that is 8 probes going down. Brutal damage. As Universe does get away. I think, were there any other changes to the Widowmine to compensate for that? To compensate for the reduced reaction time? That I'm not so sure of. As Universe is breaking out behind this, third CC is now done. This time Universe is expanding, building up in towards the mid game. Just increased build time. Increased build time. Increased radius. True, that's another change. Yeah, so overall, I would say the Widowmine was buffed. But, I mean, that was an intentional change just to make it a little bit stronger coming into the mid-game. If you recall, I think everyone assumed that that would be happening coming into the latest patch. Didn't quite occur. As Universe does get across the map, tanks stay within range of the Nexus. Greenert was unable to slow this down. And now the base is under fire. Raven's here as well. Did we go for the dive? Getting 1, 2, 3 tanks. And barely does reset the tank count. Does reset the tanks, but again, Universe, he's going for the dive. Gets a Colossus. Gets it. There we go. Dig an extra swipe off, but critical damage here. The boys are being pulled. The probes are going down. Getting to 7 probe kills. 8 probes go down, and one of the Medivacs does barely get away. And honestly, some solid damage here. Solid damage behind this. We have 3 bases. 3 base. The 4th Nexus for Greenert is late. Greenert is behind economically, and Universe is now already claiming a 4th CC. So a strong start for Universe. He's done enough damage. He's contained his opponents. There are some downsides though, because the Aggression Universe's upgrades are delayed. So later E-base, later 1-1. Now rushing into the academy. Ooh, catching out some Stalkers. Late reaction by Greenert. A late reaction. Here's the Universe forcing the army to engage. Widowmines are a little bit too far out of range, unfortunately. Yeah, they're a little bit too far back. Universe attempts to die, but it bleeds out so many Marines. Oh my god. Oh, the punish. Greener, he's holding on. Once again, though, he still does not have a 4th expansion. Still no 4th base. Yo, let's go. So we are working with Sentinel Lance. I would assume that's just a visual change. Just checking. Oh no, sorry. Scorching Flame. Ah. Colossus deal an additional 15 damage over time. The flames be scorching. Okay, interesting change. Is this a new one? I think it is. I don't recall that upgrade being there the first time we covered this this mod. Oh my god, the friendly fire. Dropping the natural. Greener, he does hold on. 4th base is on the way. Universe, he does attempt to harass, so he's going straight for the mineral line, and it looks like he will get in. He does get in, even more economic damage. Getting it to 11, 12 probe kills. Economically, Greener is still struggling. I want to see the effect. I want to. I'm curious what the visual effect looks like when units catch fire. Meanwhile, shield upgrade here for the Zealots. There is a big change to the charge lot, to be honest. When it comes to the latest patch, we go Kinetic Safeguard. Zealots now can trigger shields, so now they have the shield upgrade done, but they can also target charge as well. They don't have to charge on a unit, they can charge on a ground surface instead. So they can use it to retreat as well. They can use it to retreat, to rush forward. There we go, shields are triggered. They get spent here on the initial building. Aye, aye, aye. As Colossus, they push forward. The lasers, baby. Trying to get on top of the Ghost. Trying to, but not quite able to. Just not enough charge loss, not enough buffer. Not enough buffer, baby. It was also really unfortunate that Greener, he wasted his shields on the Sense Tower. So he gets punished for the A move. Again, if you notice, the shield is activated when charge is activated, like when they rush in, not when they're attacked. So Universe does rush across the map, catching Colossus. Nice EMP. EMP goes off, Colossus goes down. Oh, there's the burning effect. Let's go. But GG gets called. Greenert, he has nothing to defend back at home, and Universe, he will put a point on the board. GG. GG, well played. Once again, Universe, he took a massive lead early on. He was able to deal crippling damage when he pushed in towards the third base, and from that moment, Universe was ahead, right? Greenert, he was playing from behind after sustaining so much economic damage. He could not maintain himself with his production, with his upgrades, with his tech, as he had no economy to sustain any of that. Later, fourth base as well, due to the economic damage. GG, well played. And when I came to that first move out, it was on Greenert to spot the move out, to delay the push, and to prepare for it. Unfortunately, was unable to, and with that, he was broken. GG, well played. He was broken. And now we have a back and forth. And do we go all the way to the ace match? Can we bring it all the way to game 5? The pressure is on. Pressure is on. Let's go. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the Canadian Protoss player. We have the Teal Protoss representing Born Gosu, still in the series 2-1. It is Greenert. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Xeratus Esports. It is a Universe. Let's go. Let us go. Some players are going to be opening up. Going to be opening up here, and Universe does open up double gas. Okay, so double gas open out of our Terran player, going for a faster tech, going for a faster factory. And we'll see how Greenert does adjust as well. I do appreciate that we've seen some different styles out of Greenert. We saw Mass Adept one game, we saw Stargate Opener as well. We've seen a couple of Blink-based builds. Coming into 10,000 feet, I would not be surprised if we do mix things up. 2-gate Blink can be a little bit more risky here, especially with Universe being a little bit more tech-heavy. So expect extra gateways, or maybe something a little bit different. Let's go. But there are some interesting changes made in this mod that I do agree with. Like, I do like the idea of being able to charge and charge like a location on the ground instead of just focus, or just only being able to charge like into an army or into units. I do like the idea of being able to be more mobile with that and be a little bit more like micro-intensive and selective. The warping mechanic is an interesting change. It feels really drastic. Like it feels a little bit, do I want to say unrealistic, because of how much it would impact everything. Referring to the fact that units when they warp in across the map with a proxy pylon or with a warp prism, they're stripped of their shields. Like that's insane. But at the same time, like, we haven't really seen it played out too much. The addition of all the upgrades is also very ambitious, but we haven't really seen too many of them play out. It's like, I'll be honest, I don't think for example, last game we had the charge upgrades. They didn't really impact the game itself. Previously we had the adept upgrades. They also didn't really impact the game. Like the game had already been decided by that point. Likewise, from Universe, we actually haven't seen any of the new Terran upgrades in reference to, say, the Reaper upgrades or the Hellion upgrades. Like, there's been a lot of changes made to the Terran race, but Universe, he isn't really making use of them. He's just playing more standard than anything. I mean, to say more standard, he's playing as he normally would, but being hyper aggressive, of course. So we're not really seeing many of the changes from our Terran side of things in the series. It doesn't feel like it's been too exploratory. So what's the Patch Clash? The Patch Clash, it's a tournament, it's a show match series. So, show match series featuring a different mod, new mod, with a bunch of balance changes. Too many to go over. It's trust me, it's a lot. It's a lot. I know that I believe that Pig has been playing a lot with it, correct? When it comes to competing in tournaments, playing in tournaments, and showcasing the mod as well. And also using it to kind of like explore some other ideas. Code is being researched. As Universe does open up Banshee. Okay. So again, he went for a tech heavier start, faster factory, faster starport, now into Banshee play. Greenert, meanwhile, did once again go 2-gate blink into a third. Bold move. If you recall, I was a little bit I was expecting to see something a little bit safer here, but no. Once again, greedier builds, now rushing in towards charge. Charge is on the way. Going for a more gateway heavy style. Like some of the other crazy changes that I hope we're able to see throughout the course of tonight's broadcast is the return of the Infested Terran. True. Infested Terran did return. I know that a bunch of changes were made. I think initially that they were featuring like the old Infested Terran before they changed the anti-air attack or the range attack. But I believe now the Infested Terran is more like the Brood War Terran, where you create an Infested Terran one at a time from the Infestor and it explodes, correct? Oh no, does it? I know it dies over time. I need to double check. Attack speed. Oh no. It still has a range attack. Never mind. So it's still range attack, but I think it is made one at a time from the Infestor. Something like that. Yeah, new ability, Incubate Infested. Which is crazy. Anyway, Greener, he does go for the dive. It does catch out the first tank. Banshee's going to be harassing across the map. And sorry, I was a little bit distracted catching up on the patch notes. Greener, he's dealing critical damage. That's 8 SCV kills. 8 SCVs go down. The tank is a little bit too far back. Universe is trying to push forward. And without that tank, the natural is being broken. Yeah, the natural is broken. This is crippling damage. At the same time, Banshees, they get across the map. They do harass. But here on the front lines, oh, this is just too much. Yeah, the tank goes down. Oof. And with that, that's going to be 23 dead SCVs. Don't like this. 23 workers go down. Banshees, I mean, they're getting some damage, but Stalkers are racing back home. There is detection. And these Banshees have got a lot of work to do. Got a lot of work to do. Down to 1 Banshee. Universe back at home, down to 30 SCVs. Again, a 1 base economy essentially. Barely any mining. He's relying on his mules more than anything. And Universe is desperate for damage. When it comes to Universe's defense here, unfortunately, he had no bunker set up to protect his tanks. Again, he'd invested into the Banshees, and they did a lot of damage across the map, but they hit a little bit too late to distract Greenert. They did hit too late. Ideally, want them to hit, and then that will force Greenert to be focusing on the defense instead of aggressing across the map. At the mine shots. Oh, trying to force friendly fire. Yeah, cheeky moves. You know, once again, going to be collapsing in. At the same time, Universe does get across the map. I believe we still don't have any warp gates. Yes, still no warp gates. Universe is zoned away. Universe going to be forced back. Again, Universe is still trying to recover. He's still up against 60 pros from the Protoss. And it's going to be an uphill battle. Currently, the supplies are looking relatively close, but that doesn't really tell the entire story here. We're waiting for the Bay to finish. Colossus to get underway. Storm is soon to be researched as well. We have some High Templar. There it is. Storm is on the way. University does commit in. Gets across, takes down the third base, not bad. But he cannot fight head on. Assuming this splash damage, true. Colossus not quite here yet. Nice EMPs. EMPs on the Stalkers. Still force the kite back. And the Archons, they move in. The Archons move in. Unfortunately, no EMPs on set Archons. The Marines, they get completely shut down. Greenert does defend. And this was not enough damage. Greenert already has a fourth base. Already has the fourth. Not like this. So they expand. Once again, trying to recover. Show us the storm again, man. Show it to us again. we're not gonna get there. Yeah, as the army does start to step forward. Once again, catching at the Bio, catching at the Marines. Greener cannot, sorry, Universe cannot save that mineral line. Green is pushing further in. Does take down both the Archons at least. And we're the Colossus. Am I crazy? I feel like we've had this one Colossus in production for a while. But there we go. Now it's moving out. We now have splash damage. High Templar gathering energy as well. We do have a handful of ghosts here, and potentially with these EMPs we can catch out the Templar, zone away the Zealots, and try to make a stance here and try to survive. That's for Storm. Oh, EMP lands. Lands one. So one EMP so far. Lands the other, but those were the only EMPs. Yeah, that's all we had. There's still 3 more storms. Oh god, god. Storms, they punish the Bio. And Greenert is snowballing out of control. We have more reinforcements on the way. Pushing into the natural. Zoning back the army. And Premier does collapse in, and this again, there's just almost nothing to defend. Universe, he was crippled earlier when it came to that defense at the natural, just never quite recovered. Boys are being pulled. GG gets called, and Greenert will claim the series 3-1, taking down Universe. GG. GG, well played, Greenert. He does claim the series. Again, we at least saw Greenert explore the race a little bit here when it came to the series overall. I would say we didn't really get too far into it. There was no kind of back and forth mid-game. Universe was hyper aggressive. It was hyper aggressive this series. Aside from this final game where it was Greenert that was able to break his defenses early on and cripple Universe early, so we didn't really get to experience too much from the Terran side of things when it comes to showcasing some of the changes and showcasing some of the upgrades and how Terran is now a little bit different coming into a longer game. But GG, well played. Congratulations to Greenert. Does claim the series, and we'll be featuring a new set of players up next. It is going to be a ZVP. We have Fiant versus Art coming up next after the break. Going to be going on a very short break here. When we come back, we'll have that best of 5. We'll be back soon. Be back soon.